She had a good week last Thursday. Maybe that's what it would have been.
Yes.
No comment.
Oh. You'll know you're on my list if you're towards the bottom of the agenda. Oh, I've been here too long. Yes.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Codington County Board of Commissioners. It is Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I think we'll have Carrie Johnston lead us today.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would also mention, if you have a cell phone, if you would silence it. If you need to take a call, if you could step out into the hallway, that would much be appreciated. We are streaming live on YouTube as well. Item number 2, call for public comment. We will still take phone calls from individuals of items that are not on the agenda, just for information only. The numbers are 882-6248 and 882-6297, and we will address those, and they will have that opportunity during the open part of our meeting. Item number 3, conflict of interest items. Are there any for fellow commissioners?
None.
All right. Item number 4, action to approve the April 20th, 2021 agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Van Duzen, second by Gable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item number 5, action to approve the April 13th, 2021
So
minutes
moved.
of the Board of
Second.
Codington County Commissioners. Motion by Johnson, second by Waterman. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item number 6, discussion with Carrie Johnston, Executive Director, Human Service Agency, regarding upcoming changes at the Human Service Agency. So with that, good morning, Carrie.
Morning, Carrie.
Well, as you recall, I came a few weeks ago talking a little bit about some of the changes that we're making at HSA. We're continuing to proceed with those changes. Today, I'm here to request a 3% increase on what the county's been giving us. It's kind of that standard number that we always shoot for. Right now, the amount that's given to us by Codington County is $89,487. Of that money, we have $4,218 that goes to our New Horizons operation, which serves people with developmentally, intellectually, developmental delays. $67,326 goes to our Community Mental Health Center portion, our behavioral health department, and $17,943 goes to our Serenity Hills halfway house, which also has our safe room and our detox facility. We just, COVID, we were lucky that we were able to remain operational for the most part during COVID with regard to providing therapy services and psychiatric services. We moved to a Zoom platform for that. However, our Serenity Hills operation did take somewhat of a hit because we couldn't bring in new halfway house people, and we actually had to close detox on a few occasions because we just too risky to bring people in and not be able to socially distance and take care of them. And then we did have a little outbreak there several months ago, so we were down on staff too, so we actually had to close detox for a few days. So that's what we're seeking for the money to be targeted towards, the increase towards. We are we're working with TSP Design and the infrastructure engineering company to proceed with the building of our new Serenity Hills building. That will be just west of our location right now. That projected, at this point, the projected done date is October 2022. However, if you are are trying to build anything or familiar with what's going on in the pandemic right now, materials are just so slow to get here. So I've been told that millions of times. And so we are a little worried about that. We do need to be out of our current location. And I have been working with the new owners of that building on what we might get for a temporary location in between. So that's still an issue that I'm trying to resolve at some point. Not exactly sure where a good location might be for that. And I don't know how long they can allow us to stay in that building as well. So that's where we're at right now. We just hired a new, excuse me, nurse practitioner to come on staff full-time. So we'll have 2 full-time mid-level prescribers. We are also always seeking to get a full-time psychiatrist, which we hope to get by the time the building opens, because in that building, as you will recall, we're hoping to have 4 safe beds, which are that appropriate regional facility where we can have individuals up to 5 days, so we can hopefully drastically reduce the number of commitments that we send down to Avera and HSC. And I think that would save the county significantly down the road. It will save everybody. It will be good on the clients. It will be good on the county that has to pay for the transport and the admission. Good on PD that they have someone to back up. So that's what we're looking at right now. So at this time, I'll just entertain any questions.
There's the budget request form that I need to have you fill out. Okay.
I will do that. Thank you.
I'm sure. So, is that a letter you're gonna leave with us?
I sure
that
can,
says
yeah.
all that, what
Yep.
you just told us, and then,
Or she can attach it with her budget request too.
well,
What's
because you
easier for you?
outlined the amounts and the
Yeah.
percentages,
Yep.
that's kind of useful. So the grant you applied for, or the tech.
The RFP, yeah.
Yeah, so what's the status of that right now?
That actually closed on April 7th. So we're just waiting to hear back from that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's still gonna be a
the
little
waiting
while.
pattern.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then we'll know maybe like how much the state would be able to give us for that. There's also, West River had gotten a Senate Bill 144, and that gave them $4.1 million to build a similar facility. We did not write a bill for Eastern South Dakota to get the same, although it's in the works that it's kind of one of the precedents has been set now. We're hopeful that we can get money as well. So we're looking at that avenue too.
Carrie, what did you say the date to be out of your current facility is again?
The building changes owners on June 1. And so I have been talking with both the current owner, Hank Rosso, and the new owner, Bob Johnson, about allowing us to stay until we found something. When we first started those discussions, we didn't know it would be that long. And so I'm still seeing how long they can tolerate us basically until they absolutely want us out. And then I'm in the process of looking for other options. So.
Now, the option that you're looking at, you said was west of where you're at now, or?
Yep.
I drifted off there for a second.
That's okay. I was talking quite fast. I've been told. It is, so our main agency, if you've ever been in my office or Dr.
Yeah.
Sherman's office formerly, it's a big window.
Yep.
And out that window, there's a big track and then there's
Yep.
a grove of trees. I initially thought that's where our property line ended. Unbeknown to me, we had a 1.4 acres on the other side of those trees. And so it will go over there in that location.
So the west of those trees.
Yes.
There's nothing available for rent that would suffice as far as, I'm thinking, like the new VA center,
Yeah.
that's a big facility and they still have a lot for rent,
Sure.
quite a bit of that, the old hardware store.
Yeah. We are just looking at options right now of renting, or what could we do with some of our current locations. COVID caused us to lose 7 or so individuals on our community support provider side, New Horizons side. So we might be able to do something with a house on that side. We're just looking at all of our options right now.
Well, one thing and I know that you're turning all the rocks over, but sometimes I go by there and I think there's 100 cars sitting there too.
Yeah.
You need a bigger parking
gonna
lot
be-
than you have.
And we just expanded our parking
I
lot
know,
too. So
but
yeah.
it's, I don't know where, do people just park their cars there for the heck of it or what?
No, we have, if you might be driving by during the noon hour as well, and we have meetings there. We have
Yeah.
our prevention resource center who hosts a lot of meetings, and so it can be anything, or treatment at night. There's a lot of individuals, but
Busy
yeah,
facility.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of activity around there.
Mhm.
So your request is 3%?
Correct.
My figures, it looks to me like about $2,684. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think I had
Cindy?
it in that letter too.
that what it was?
$2,684.61.
Boom, I was right on. Yep,
There you go. Well done. Good math.
that's my white high school math. Good, well,
All
thank
right.
you for all you do
Any
over
other
there. We
questions?
appreciate your efforts that you've been a mainstay in the community. We hope that you stay there
Oh,
and we can help.
And I
What
just
happened?
want to add to that if I can, Madam Chair, that, you know, the Serenity Hills has been a blessing for law enforcement. You know, so often we deal with people in a mental health state, and for a long time, we didn't have anywhere else to take them but to the detention center, and that was not the place for them. And so your staff and that facility does provide a much needed service to the residents of Codington County and the region.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
thank
yeah, if we can support that project, we should.
Yeah, hopefully we will get that RFP, and we would definitely be able to serve a lot of people, and hopefully we can get it staffed too. You know, Watertown is a little short on employees
Yeah.
kind of, so we're working on that too.
Especially specialized, sometimes it's
Yeah.
hard to get those.
Yeah, so, well, thank you everyone for your time.
Good
Appreciate
luck.
it.
Thank you
Have a
very
good
much
morning.
for coming, Carrie. Thanks for keeping us in touch with what's going on. All right, monthly reports. We'll move on then to facilities manager with Steve. Good morning, Steve.
Morning, Steve.
Morning, Steve.
Good morning. Yeah.
Gonna have to bring the feather one in here.
Who's the testing? We don't need a new courthouse yet, do we?
All right, we'll start out with the courthouse with a little bit of repair going on of some patching here and there. And then currently right now, working on the, all the copper and stuff like that on the rails and stuff, getting that all back up and look in decent shape again. I don't know if you noticed, we put a little longer rail on the center rail going down the stairs. I think I better not comment too much, but I think it's helped a little bit. Yeah, knock on wood. Going over to the Denton Center, the staff over there just doing routine maintenance, doing some cleanup, some old wires that were disconnected and stuff, getting that all out of the ceilings and stuff. Extension building. I don't know if you noticed, but the floor has been finished. If any of you have been out there, they put the stalls in last week for the bathrooms out in the sail ring. And this week they'll put in the stalls in the bathrooms up in the hallway. The stalls there kind of got shipped in the wrong direction. They headed out East Coast instead of here in the Midwest. So they'll be putting them in, planning on tomorrow. Also with COVID out there going on, continuing each week, plus there's auctions going on in the weekends, and so that either livestock or estate sales. So, yep.
Have you heard any pushback or anything about, you know, we're having a little issue with some of the tables out there?
I have not heard too much. Nothing's been said to me too far yet. I know that they get pretty dirty and they get pretty grungy on stuff. Currently, right now, the auctions that's out there have been kind of more or less household stuff. I would imagine once we start getting a little bit more some, you know, greasy stuff, probably change again. So.
Or they need to put some kind of coverings on.
Yeah, I think that's what it was agreed on. They have to have some kind of coverings on them.
I've not heard anything. I was wondering if you'd heard anything.
No, nothing at this point right now, but of course we just starting the auctions up again out there, so. Going to the park, I'm gonna have staff that's gonna start getting the park cleaned up, getting all the twigs and everything all straightened out, this week. I've done with the interviews. We have offered 2 positions, or the positions out there. I'll be putting them across next week. And so we had everyone that we've called on has accepted their offers. So I'll get that all put together for next week for approvals.
Did you have a fair number of people apply for those?
We actually had 13 altogether, interviewed 8 people. So
Good. How many did you end up with hiring?
we're going to hire 4. One's going to be half-time at the present time. So, well, 5 actually altogether. One person, I guess, was from last year is coming back. But yeah, 4 new ones. As far as reservations go, reservations have been continually filling up. Currently, as of 8 o'clock this morning, there is $35,362 revenue already from online plus call-in. Even though that the online started, I believe like the 16th or 17th of February, so that's been 3 months now. Is that right? Yeah, no, a little over 2 months. And the call-in started the 1st of April. We are still yet at 50-some% call-ins. It's amazing how many people want to call in, so. And now to the weed department. Of course, the weed department, I am going to get my one gentleman, he's going to start when the weather is halfway decent in the shop, going to start getting the new injecting units put on the trucks, get that ready. And then, of course, combination with that with West Nile. Tomorrow I run to Aberdeen to get the mosquito fogger calibrated. And then on Thursday, I'll be in Pier for the State Weed Commission. Now, what else I got to think? I think that's probably about, hopefully that's about it. All
That
my.
took my whole piece of notes.
Well, there's a lot of departments.
Yes, there
You're
are.
taking someone with you to Aberdeen, though, aren't you?
No, I am not taking nobody with. All it's going to be is calibration. Usually they have a whole complete workshop in the morning. Because of COVID, they are just holding off. So they're just going to do calibrations, and it's going to be first come, first serve.
Sure.
Of course, that process there, they have to first run the machines and set everything, and then they go and calibrate, which will probably be noon at the earliest one to get done. So it's still yet a day process of all that, so.
How many actually come in to have that done? Quite a few
Generally
counties.
about 30, 40 in
Oh.
the area, in the
Wow.
region, and they split that off. They do 4 places in the state. They started out with Rapid City on Monday. Today they're in Pier. Tomorrow they're in Aberdeen, and then on Thursday they're in Mitchell. So, and used to go to Sioux Falls, and do the testing out at the fairgrounds there, but Sioux Falls didn't want to have that done at the fairgrounds anymore, so they had to find a different location, so.
Question on the campground. So are there certain questions that people are asking on the phone that maybe they could put on the online booking system that might?
Nothing really particular, no. I mean, they kind of more or less see all the, let them know of all the rules and regulations and, everything that's online. When they go in, they're all there and they have to push accept
So
those
can they-
rules and stuff.
I know
so.
sometimes they request a specific campsite. Can they do?
Yeah, there's some that are trying to do, but it's only what's available.
But
So-
can they do that online? Is there? I've never-
Well, when they're online, they go in and they can select what sites. They can go either to a site they prefer, what's available,
You can see what's
and you can see what's available by clicking on the map. But there's also certain limitations because each campsite has got length on it. So if there's something that's either too short or too long, it kind of limits them on some of the stuff. Because one of the things is there's people coming into the pull-throughs, which takes a huge area. And when you have somebody that comes up with a little pop-up, you kind of almost like, okay, now they took up that space and then you have a rig that's 30, 40 feet long and they're trying to get into a spot that is recommended, but they're trying to back up through to kind of. So there's certain rules that can be set into the system.
I was going to say, for those spots, can we limit it to just certain sizes?
And that's what goes into that system. You can turn around and limit it maximum and minimum.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
They
that on them
ask you what your
sites.
camper length is and what your.
Yep,
what
when they go in
power
there,
you
yep.
need.
I did talk to Doug Taken and Sylvia, which is running the campground out at City Park. They had just started their system up the other day. And I asked him how the first 24 hours went. And he says it went pretty good. They had a couple little things of glitches, but otherwise they said they're running the same system.
The
we are.
software program and everything itself is working
Yep,
good?
Yep.
Good.
So.
I think there's just a certain number of people who still just want to do that face-to-face. or
They like
on
the face-to-face
Yeah, the
and,
personal
yep,
call.
they don't have
so,
a problem paying the extra few dollars for the call.
Yeah, they just feel
so-
more reassured, I think, maybe that it's,
They feel more assured.
Yep.
they're trying to turn around and do most everything as much as it can with credit cards, because for refunding aspect, it's a lot quicker and faster to do a credit card than doing a paid check or cash,
Right.
because then the refund probably takes up to 45 days
Yeah.
before.
A delay by the time it
Yep.
gets through the
So-
process, so.
One thing also on this system, so that it has it that within 2 weeks, of their arrival date, it will send an email verifying that they have this site at this time, because hopefully that will alleviate some of the calls they always get, do we have our site at this time, and so that, so.
Sure.
So,
Good idea.
Just a question, we started that, I don't even know what it was called, for the trees out there to start doing that replacement. Milo started that program.
Memorial
We
trees.
received from some funding, where's that at, or how we?
well, currently right now, there's a few people that's calling, they want to put a tree, but they want a specific tree, so they're going to the tree
Farm or whatever.
farm or
Mhm.
whatever, and so that, and getting trees and putting some trees in the spot there. I know that there's that lineup of trees that are out there. Some of them there's quite a few of them that have died out. I think it got lack of management of watering, so I need to make sure that this year they,
Well, we had
Keep on
that, it was
top
a
of it.
memory.
Yep,
Yes,
there's a
and so-
memory
People
program
could
for that.
sponsor a
Yep,
tree,
yep,
right?
yep, yep.
Yeah,
Didn't
so.
they, weren't they gonna put plaques on them?
Well,
or
that's what we
something?
need we talked about that. We
Mhm.
never really moved
Yeah.
that forward, and I would like to move that forward, that
Okay.
those people are recognized for, doing that in memory of
I
someone.
know
So
there's
somehow-
benches out there, memories and stuff like that and
Mhm.
stuff, but yeah.
So we need to try to figure out how to do
How
that.
to get some plaques put out by the trees at the
Yeah.
Little, little plaques.
Little
Yep.
markers of
Names.
some sort, but yeah, I think that would be nice to at least recognize that, so.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll add to your list.
Yep,
What
all
else?
right.
Put it on the tree, so it's something else they don't have to. go
Yeah, well, you
around.
you can't
No,
really do that
We don't want to
yet.
attach things to trees. We had that issue last year.
Yep, and that's in the rules, so,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, anyway, just something to think
Yeah.
about, that if we want to continue that program on and just
Yep.
put someone in charge of that, other than you having to worry about that or whatever, so.
Okay, all right.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
Nope.
All right, very good.
Steve.
Let's move on then to our highway superintendent, Rick. Good morning.
Morning, Rick.
Good morning.
You have all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Probably gonna need another whole page.
Here are some stuff that we'll get to.
I got the pictures up, so tell me when to show them, Rick.
Yeah, this will be a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
That don't look good.
No, it's not.
Oh, doesn't look so bad.
it was in a different county.
Yeah.
I can still see the road.
For now.
All right.
Thanks.
The guys are crack sealing. The weather's been interrupting that little process, but we'll crack seal as long as we can. The cracks are still open. We've also hauled some riprap on that spot that I just handed you guys, the pictures on 23-4. It was something that we put some riprap on it last year and we never got it finished and it froze up, and we were gonna finish it this spring, but we had to get a little quicker on it. That spot was built up in 2012. And it's almost underwater again in one spot.
But where is that at, just exactly?
It's on the Tinkertown Road.
Okay, yeah.
It'd be 6.5 miles north of 212.
That one?
Yep. Yes, indeed. And a couple miles south of Medicine Lake.
Okay.
We have also put some riprap on 10-2, which is a couple miles south of there, and back to the east going towards Memorial Park. We put some riprap on that last fall too, and we never got it finished because it froze up. But that's something that we work on rainy days when we're not crack sealing. On the one on 10-2 isn't quite as bad. That when it gets to a certain level, we'll run into Long Lake, which will affect that picture that you're looking at.
So this is the north-south road here.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Yeah, it's just a quarter mile or half mile north of 8-1. It goes back to the west. We also picked up our new trucks from Fargo that had the boxes put on and the pusher axles on the 8th of April. Our mechanic and another guy are working on getting the radios switched over, the two-way radio switched over, the plumbing for the sanders, and they'll be putting the chipper hitches on them too. And we could use them right now if we had to, but we're trying to get all that stuff done so when fall comes, if we need a sander, we can just slide one in and not have to worry about everything not fitting. All of our FEMA stuff should be done. All the paperwork, everything. Cindy had just got an email here a week ago about an extension, and we shouldn't need any of that. And this is all from 2019. So we should be good to go with FEMA stuff. So, and that's pretty much it, what I have for my monthly report.
When we were out and visited, Natalie and Harley and I, that one piece of equipment that you want to replace, have you had any leads or any? I got, probably everybody did, I don't know, the ad about the auctions, for the surplus, and equipment that's for sale for the county, from the counties. The Purple Wave or whatever it is, anyway.
Mhm.
Have you found anything yet? It's that paver.
It's it's a small distributor tank.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Mhm.
And my list of ones that we can't use has gotten bigger, and the list of ones that we can use is really small.
Oh. Mhm.
So I'm still working on it,
Mhm.
but yeah, we're kind of limited. I've talked to different people that have the stack that we can't use,
Mhm.
and people that sell them, and so we're still working on it. We're still using the old one.
Mhm.
So matter of fact, they're out today looking at some spots. We had a few breakup spots, mainly kind of over where the water's at.
Mhm.
And we glued them back together for now, so.
Is that a piece of equipment that not a lot of people are using anymore, that type?
Exactly.
So it's the methodology has changed.
Yep. A lot of them, they'll just put gravel over those spots. And when summer comes, they dig them out and put a hot mix patch in there.
Yeah.
So I guess either way, I'd just soon do it the way we do it because it seals it up. And I've had several other superintendents ask me about it. So they're curious to see what I come up with.
Well, it is, and if it's that, when you said that the list is getting smaller of places to get these, that's what I was.
Well, it's not so much that, it's the machine itself.
Yes.
The list is pretty small on what we could use, so.
Regarding our FEMA project, on April 7th, we did receive a check from the state for the September 2019 storms in the amount of $439,722.57.
Will that be all of it, or is there more to come?
I think there's one more.
Is there one more? It looked like
That
we
was,
had,
that was the first, this was the second go around. The
This was the
first go around, we're
2019.
still waiting for that one.
okay,
And that one was around.
March
Yeah.
of the same year?
Yep,
Yeah.
same year,
Yes.
but the total was like around 100,000,
Yeah.
right in there somewhere. And for some reason, we haven't, when we signed off on that, we haven't received anything on it yet, so I'm not sure what the deal is. So,
The townships are doing their own for their stuff too.
yep, yeah, this is just
This is
strictly county.
county funds, yes.
Yep.
Is there something significant that you wanted to explain to us on this map that you had?
Yeah, that's
I see you got
That would be
that-
coming up on one
Yeah,
of
that's
these
coming up.
items. So he'll talk about that when we get to it.
Yep,
Okay,
So you're gonna talk about the pictures too? Up at-
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
That-
he's done
that's
with his
closer to the
monthly.
bottom of the list.
Yeah,
All right,
his,
okay.
so you're done with your monthly report, so now we
Yep.
can move on to the next items on the agenda, which is item number 8, action to accept a bid for bridge rehab project number 15-240-155.
Yes, this is for Banner Associates to take care of everything that needs to be done, testing, making sure the contractor.
No. This is the bid from last month, last
Oh,
week.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
To
I'm sorry.
accept the bid for
Yes.
bridge
Accept
rehab.
it,
bid.
I'm sorry.
Yep, per Banner's recommendation.
Find the right sheet. There it is, where it's supposed to be. And this is for Prom Construction. They were the low bidder on replacing the bridge deck on the bridge on 7-5.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Van Duzen. Second by Waterman. Any other questions or comments?
There's an engineer's report here, or a letter from the engineer also that the low bid of 251,000 is 2% more than the engineer's estimate, but he does recommend moving forward with Prom Construction.
All right, did we, how was that budgeted? Like, was that within the
Now,
amounts or were they slightly over?
this was not a budgeted item.
Okay,
There was
Oh, yeah.
134,000 that we used, or we received from the state that we have to use on bridges.
Yep.
And the rest will come out of my budget. so.
okay.
Well,
But
the
it'd
whole
be-
thing will come out of your budget.
Yeah,
right,
it'll all,
But-
but,
We'll
yeah.
get compensated for a portion of it.
Well, we've already had.
The cash is already
Yeah,
there,
it's
but
already
it's not
there,
in the
so.
budget.
Not
Is
enough,
that part of
okay.
BAG?
What's that?
Was that part of the BAG project? Or-
No,
Big.
no,
Okay. Never mind.
So,
no, this was something that we needed done to do. Remember I said pictures with the holes in the bridge? So,
Yeah.
right,
Okay, all right.
yep, it needs
Follow it
to,
now.
Better water drainage on through.
yeah, there's a lot of drainage on top of the bridge there.
so I don't know if people can see
All
it
right.
on the screen, but you can see all the bids there. And so it looks like the engineer, they went through all the different components of the bid.
Mhm.
And then this is the engineer's estimate here on the far left column. So,
Yeah, he had a few items that the contractor had more. He had a few that were less, but
Okay. Any other questions or comments? We ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. All right, item number 9, action to approve a change order for bridge project BRO 801538.
this was the bridge up on County Road 4 that they replaced last fall. And it was stuff that they didn't use. This has already been, we paid the bill, but for the state's paperwork, this needs to be approved by you guys, so. There was,
Second.
Motion by Gable, second by Waterman. Any other questions, comments?
so this is a reduction in cost.
Yes,
This particular
yeah,
change order.
and like I said, we've already paid the bill, but to get the state's paperwork in order.
Yeah.
they
Is
have
it
to
a
have this
reduction?
change.
No, it looks like
It's
a,
a, it's.
Yeah.
we had-
Increase.
It was a reduction.
For this particular change order, the net is.
The net increase is 46.
Yeah, the net is 4,600. Is that an increase or,
That was a decrease. That was the difference,
okay,
so.
okay. It doesn't appear to be a
Yeah,
decrease.
I know,
but
I had to
okay.
call him and ask him.
All right,
So-
okay.
Yep,
The other way, they didn't put it.
yeah, there's,
But it says.
It looks like an
decrease
increase.
for-
It does, it says
Mhm.
decrease, but,
Yeah, they didn't put parentheses around the
right,
yep.
bottom.
okay, all right.
we'll take some more of those.
All right.
It is an increase.
Any other questions, comments? Ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item number 10, action to approve, excuse me, a contract with Banner Associates for engineering services on bridge rehab project 15-240-155, which we talked about up there.
Okay, this is the one I started with by mistake. This is the new bridge deck on 7-5 for Banner Associates to do the engineering work to make sure the cement and everything, the riprap is all taken care of.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Gable,
Second.
second by Van Duzen. Any questions or comments?
I have a couple of questions and it's just a matter of, for me, they've got a schedule of labor rates and expenses. That's part of this one, right?
Yep.
They've got administrative, there's a wide range there, like from 55 to $145 an hour and the project manager's 120 to 215. That just seems like an awful, I
Well,
mean.
it depends on who they send out to the field. You know, if it's one of the lower end people, they're at the $55 an hour. If they're one of the higher end people, it's 140. So most of the time it'll be, one of their interns or someone else.
I mean, Banner does a good job for us, there's no doubt about
Yeah.
it, but it just seems like that's an awful wide spread to leave float. That leaves
Yeah.
wide open for padding the bill.
Yeah, but-
I think it-
If you read in the first page or second page.
Yes, first page.
First page down towards the bottom,
17,000.
17,000.
Not
That's
to
the
exceed.
cap.
That would be the cap, yes.
Yeah.
So they gotta fit it in there.
Yep.
So if they send out somebody for $145, we get less hours than at 55.
It'll be the same hours, more likely, depending on who they send out. It'll take the same amount of time. It's just a different rate.
But this is the $17,000 range. But if you're working with somebody for $55 an hour,
This is the cap. The 17,000 is capped.
yes.
And it probably will not be that much, so.
So if they
I
send
don't like
somebody
the
out
word
for more,
probably. I don't like the
Yeah.
words maybe.
Yeah.
I don't like the words indefinite.
Okay, it
when we
won't
go
be
into
that
a
much.
contract. I mean, that's words I don't like. I don't like this 55 to 145.
well, if they send someone out for that, we're only paying the expenses of 17,000. So I guess they'll have to figure that out
They-
themselves.
They have the scope of work that they have
Mhm.
so
That's not unusual with projects like this.
I think there's a requirement to put that, so.
All right. Any other questions, comments for Rick on this? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries as well. All right, item number 11, action to approve the 2021 road striping project with the South Dakota DOT. And you have that agreement in your packet. Rick, did you want to highlight anything?
This is what we stripe every year for chip seal. If we have new pavement, the state takes care of all the lining up, all the painters, and I think there's 8 or 9 counties that are together. And they start in, say they start in Aberdeen, they work their way this way, and it's all taken care of, and the county pays for their portion. Because like this, if you notice at the top, it's our estimated cost is $60,000.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Gable,
Second,
second by Waterman. Any other discussion? So typically it's about 35 miles is what you have plugged
Yes.
in there, just,
Yes.
okay. Any other questions, comments for Rick? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Item number 12, action to approve hiring seasonal employee for the highway department.
And this is someone that we hire every year to mow grass, clean the shop, odd and end stuff, to keep the yard cleaned up. We've got a pretty good gopher population that started last year, so we've got a lot of cleanup. There's a lot of gravel piles and things in the yard that need to be cleaned up, but this is something that we hire every year, so.
what rate do you put him at, Rick? You remember?
It's between $14 and $15.
Okay.
And
Vote
is it-
approved.
Motion by Johnson, second by Gable. Is this part-time or full-time?
It'd be just part-time, roughly
In the
20
season.
hours a week.
Okay.
You got somebody or you come back from last year?
I've got somebody that I've been talking to. The guy that was there last year decided not to come back, so.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Item number 13, discussion, possible action to hire an engineering firm to inspect water issues around Long Lake, and that's where our pictures will come into
Yes.
play.
This is the spot on 23.
I've been in contact with the person with the DENR out in Pier, and they take water levels, and according to him, that this water all moves to the east, and it's got to get 20 feet deeper before it will run out. Well, if that gets 20 feet deeper, this road right that you're looking at, you know, it's already on the road. And that, like I said, that spot is roughly 1,500 feet long. And the spots that we worked on last year, they're still 4 to 5 feet out of the water just to the west of this. So there's 2 residents there. If that water keeps coming up, I can't build that road up 20 feet.
So
You know.
we're just gonna buy them a boat?
We're gonna have to do something, or art or something, because,
Well, their house is gonna be inundated
Yeah,
because the one,
that's-
it's already going back into, there's a ravine that runs there and it's
you know,
starting to
you
fill
know, it
up.
went down some last year, but this spring, it's still running out of Long Lake, and that, where it runs out of Long Lake, runs to the east, and then it runs north to this spot, and then it runs underneath the road again to the east and keeps going east through Madison, Horseshoe, and McGilligan's.
So this is looking, is this looking?
That's looking north.
Looking north, okay.
And there's like, all the closed basins back in there are pretty much filled up as well, so.
Yeah, you can't see it, but on the east side of that, you get in a certain spot of the road just a little bit back to the south, and you can see where this water moves to, and it's almost all the same level now. So you get a little further to the north and to the west, there's a big hill, and you get up on top of that, that's all you can see is water. And that's why I've already talked to some engineering firms to see what options they can come up with to address building these roads up or something else, you know, or lowering the water somehow, but
The ideal situation would be to get DENR to drop that
yeah.
20-foot mark.
But see, then all that water comes this way.
Yeah.
You know, if that water gets high enough, it'll come into Lake Compesca at Compesca Lodge, is what I'm told. So,
Yeah. But I mean, if they would lower that way, then for it to start spilling out or whatever, we'd be able to have
Yeah.
it start releasing before it gets
Yeah.
that high.
and like I said, I've talked to some engineering firms about getting a quote, what we can figure out to do with our roads. 'Cause like I said, if we build it up 20 feet, it'll have to be 100 feet wide at the bottom to start going up, and
Yeah.
It's already-
About a gajillions tons of.
yeah.
And to the west of this, that is already so steep.
Yeah, and that's, you know, like I said, where we built up last year and riprap, all that, you know, it's still quite a ways out of the water, 4 or 5 feet, but
Right.
if it keeps coming up, we're in trouble. And that picture of the map that I showed you, this whole area that's in blue, that's all water. All that stuff is hooked together.
Where is it coming from?
Well, part of it comes from the southwest over by Henry, and then part of it comes from the northwest and north that runs in there. The culverts that we put in by Medicine Lake, they were dry last year, and there's water running through them again this spring. And we didn't have enough snow to make a good mud puddle. So the combination of little black pipes, groundwater, and everything else is playing an effect on this. So,
Let's see, the other picture, should I show that other one that you gave me? You gave me 2 pictures.
yeah.
Let me show you that.
One's just one side of the road. That,
Okay.
the picture you had was the east side of the road, and the other one was the west side of the road. So
Okay.
it's the same spot, just 2 different angles.
And the 3 inches of rain that we had,
Yeah,
which we needed,
not that much at one time.
but we don't have much of a choice.
You get a windy day and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's,
So this one's
Below the
not
top.
further north?
No, this is just right across the road.
Okay, all right.
Because I just walked from one side of the road to the other, just so you can see what,
Yeah.
you know, because it's on both sides of the road. We haven't stopped traffic or anything. they still let them go through, but we put a little barricade with a light on each end for warning. And that riprap is basically just sticking up above the road, something so it doesn't, when the wind blowing, it doesn't pound right on the asphalt to eat out from underneath it, so.
Besides 2 residents, I know there's one school district that also uses that
Yes.
road to transport, so.
Because that road, you can come all the way from Garden City to come to Watertown. So I had somebody tell me last year when it was closed that they didn't realize how many times they went down a week
Mhm.
until it was closed.
Right.
So,
And then the jog around, I don't know how many miles that is, but
yeah.
anyway.
And Keith Olson is here. They built up some roads last year on the end of McGilligan's or Horseshoe. And the water has come up in there and in and
have access to our property. There's other farmers in that particular area, same way, lost access to their pasture lands.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep, because it just keeps getting deeper and deeper out there. It has nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's a serious condition.
As far as residents, there are 2 that are, there are 2 residents.
Yes.
They actually live out there.
Yes,
Yes.
I
they
mean, the
do.
buildings are being
Not-
used.
They live there.
Yep.
The one's got a feed lot and the other one's just has a small
Residence.
section of property that they live on.
I would encourage all of you, I went with Rick to go out there and take a look at it. It's a serious condition for some of those individuals. It's not,
We've been out there before.
Mhm.
All the problems exacerbated.
But
Yeah,
it's
it's worse.
gotten
it's way worse.
worse now.
Yeah.
Well, it's the lowest spot and that's where it collects.
Because even like where we put those culverts in by Medicine Lake, it's almost to the bottom of them. If it keeps getting higher, it's gonna push that water back to the west. So, yeah, it's,
Yes. And access to a few of those farms, there is no access right now, so.
So as far as the hiring an engineering firm, are you gonna get some quotes?
yeah, that's, as soon as I leave here, I'm gonna stop at one and,
If they, any idea of the price range?
No.
you're looking at?
no. no.
So you'll gather that information and
Yeah.
bring it back to
Yeah,
the
and
board.
when I get that, I'll bring it back. So,
So what is your wishes?
I don't think we can put it in without a quote, so.
You don't have a firm, you don't
Yeah.
It's
have an
just-
engineering.
problem
firm
we gotta
that-
do
that-
it basically
Okay.
was just to discuss, to tell you like what I'm doing,
So-
talking to these people.
So you don't need to authorize him to do that. He can do that on his own and bring it back, bring it back to you. Yeah, yeah, so you don't need to take action on
Just
that.
let them,
If
just
they're
an
really
okey
high,
dokey.
we need to- I'm just worried that we might need to do an RFP, a quick RFP, or do you think just if we get a bunch of quotes, I guess we'll see what.
Depends on the dollar amounts, I suppose.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
Depends on how close they are. I mean, they're gonna be standard.
So is it kind of a standard thing
Fees.
for them to do?
It's a
Just kind of-
it'll be a standard fee, won't it? I mean,
Yeah, but it depends on how much,
how competitive.
yep,
Yeah.
and how much work will be involved in it,
So
so.
is the output like a report, I would guess, of some sort that gives us some recommendations about
Yeah,
what to do?
that's what I'm shooting.
Because that
for,
might
so.
be, I'm just worried that.
Well, it won't be a report on the conditions.
No, it won't be.
It'll just be, this is what we're gonna charge you to go to
To study
create a
it.
report on the conditions.
No, I get that, but so what do we want the report to contain is kind of what I get. If it gets complicated, that's kind of what I'm concerned about it. So we might get a totally, how one person might mean, well, I meant this kind of report. And this one meant that kind of report. And
And-
we didn't ask for that. And so we just need to make sure.
Because I sent these guys all the same information that I sent you guys, plus a couple of emails that I had from the DNR, so.
Okay, all right,
But basically what we can do,
okay,
you know,
what the options are.
what the options are.
Some of this is DNR land.
No, well, some of it's government ground where the water goes to, but most of it's private land, like around Horseshoe and stuff, most of it's private land. There is some government,
U.S. Fish and Wildlife is on the west side,
yeah, they have some of it, but,
and Long Lake is a lot of GFP.
yeah,
And like east end.
McGilligan's what-
McGilligan
is it? And then you have Medicine, a lot of that's private ground all the way around.
Yeah, pretty much.
So-
Yeah.
But that's one of the first places it goes, and then right across the road from this, it's private ground. You know, this is where it starts to run to. You know, and there's still a path coming on a long lake that's probably 25 feet wide. I'm not sure how deep it is, but probably 6 inches. It's still running to the east. Last year, it had just about dried up before fall came, and then it froze to the ground. And it quit running, so.
So the culverts that we put down there by, which
Madison.
road was it? Yeah. So is that running through now? Because it
Yeah,
was
there's a
getting
little
close.
bit of water. There's probably a few inches of water going through one of them, I think.
Okay.
I don't think it's going through both of them. So, you know,
Right.
which kind of really surprised me because as dry as the winter we had, like I said, we didn't have enough snow to
Mhm.
amount to anything, and we've got water again going through them. So.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps up for all of your issues. Anyone else have any questions, comments for Rick before he goes? No, thanks, Rick, for the information, and
If anybody wants to go out there, just let me know. I can take you around and all that. Show you, let you look at water.
I'll contact you. This late today at set time.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay,
all right, thanks, Rick.
thank you.
Do we have Luke on, Natalie? I don't know, has he been,
Thanks, Keith.
I'll text him and see if he was gonna hop on, otherwise we'll come back to the first reading of ordinance number 72. While we're waiting for him, we'll just move on then and come back to that. So item number 15, action to approve abatement applications. That would be Cindy has those, that information.
3 abatements, all applicants have qualified for an assessment program. The first piece is in Lake Township. The abatement that qualifies is $615.92. The second one is in the city of Watertown. The qualified abatement is $625.84. And the final abatement application is in the city of Watertown and qualifies for $120.10.
Move to approve.
Second?
We have 2 motions.
I got Johnson and Van
And-
Dusen. Are the 2 I could
Gable,
hear.
Gable was one of the ones that made one of the motions. Okay. Any questions, comments?
Like I said, all of these people qualify for an assessment program. They have to file their application and provide backup data to back up their application, which is checked out. So
All right. We're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Luke will hop on in about 5 minutes, so we'll just keep going here with what we're doing. Item number 16, action to create an ordinance to qualify for historic preservation grant funding. I asked to have Cindy just put this on. Talking with Christy Lichtai over at the historic building, Codington County Historic, whatever you call it.
Historic Preservation Commission.
Yes,
She's on it.
anyway, at this time, she said not to go forward with this, I guess, for the amount of paperwork and stuff that needs to be done. She's fine with us not doing it. I just thought it'd be good to have it on the agenda or have it in the minutes that we at least discussed it and that we decided at this time not to move forward with that. So.
We need a motion to that effect?
we need a motion in the affirmative
Yep,
and
and
then
then
you'll
we'll-
vote yes or no. Yes. Yep. Did you want to
So-
offer
I'm
that?
sorry. Yes, I would. That would decline this or.
So you make a
Well,
motion in the affirmative, so we
To
all,
create the ordinance.
yeah. And then when we vote, you vote whether you want to do it or not do
Right.
it. So, okay, we have a motion
Well, Cindy, yes.
Second.
and a
for
second, okay? So all in favor then of creating this ordinance, vote aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that motion fails.
So we have a record that it's
Yeah.
taken care of.
That way we know, so it's, when we look back in the records again, that we just decided not to do it rather than it was left in limbo before, so. And if someone going forward wants to all of a sudden do that, I mean, we still have that opportunity, but not at this time.
This is the follow-up to when we had this.
Yes,
yes.
The state.
Folks come in,
Yes, and
explain to us.
we discovered that
Ton
the
of
grant
paperwork.
funds we receive are
Lot of
minimal
paperwork.
each year,
For considering all the amount of.
Yeah.
considering the hoops you have to jump through, yes.
So at this time, we won't do it unless there becomes a need, then it can always be brought back up and addressed. So let's move on to item number 17 then, discussion possible action to pass a resolution to enact a ban on burning, open burning, and we'll have Jamie come up and give us our report of where things are at.
Morning.
Good morning, Jamie.
Morning, Jamie.
Well, we received some beneficial news last week coming out of the U.S. drought monitor situation, which was released last Thursday, April 15th. Took us back to normal and none category in about a 5 to 6 region here in our Region 2 coordination efforts as far as drought is considered on the northeast side. So with that said, I dug a little further, looked at their seasonal probabilities between April 15th and July 31st of 2021. Subject to change typically with the National Weather Service, but their longer term outlook here is showing us in normal conditions on receiving above normal, below normal. They put us in that equal chance, which is at 33% category.
Is that normal precip?
Normal precipitation values.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Same with their 3-month outlook as far as precipitation, like we were talking there in the drought monitor, the weather service on the NOAA side forecasted the same thing. So we're in that 33. But with that said, the 3-month temperature outlook and the means value puts us in that 40 to 50% probability of above category, but summer will come. So that is where we're at. I don't see any need currently, but I still studying and going down the road of up to really 11 to 12 counties, revising and looking at their drought situations and burn bans and ordinances. So I'm going to continue that forecast and we will bring it to you and see if we can all make amends and agreement on moving forward if we want to revise it.
Yep.
Take it
Sounds-
from there. But currently we are in a good situation and that was beneficial news coming out of Darren Clabo's office out of the state meteorologist on the west side, along with Kelly Sir out of National Weather Service. So
Yep.
that's
Sounds
where we're
good.
at.
Stuff.
The main thing is for folks, if they're going to do open burning, is to please call
That's very beneficial.
Call that in
Call our
because
communication center and report.
what number is that, Jamie?
882-6210 locally, and then 882-6280, I believe, is the sheriff's office to
Oh.
notify. And what that really does, it aids those volunteer fire departments and full-time fire departments as far as sense of direction. You know, they get those pages and sometimes a lot of them use an app or on their phone. They'll get a latitude, longitude scenario. A lot of times I talk with the local county, towns, fire departments. You put a name on it, they know where they're going.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's kind of how
It's
that
an old
plays
set
out. but it's-
place.
Well, and the
Yeah.
thing now with cell phones is everybody sees a little smoke and they're calling it in. So if
And that-
an
that's a
individual
problem for
hasn't,
communication center.
yeah, if they haven't called in a controlled burn, by statute, the fire departments have to go out to those and then they have to put them out. So I guess if you want to do a controlled burn, nobody's going to tell you you can't as long as a burn isn't in. Just please let us know you're doing it. So
Correct. Gives them a lot of guidance
Yep.
on where to go.
absolutely.
So, with that said, tomorrow also severe weather preparedness week
Yeah.
is going on. 10 a.m. tomorrow will be a watch on the state weather side of this world. The normal value of state drill. 10 a.m. will be issued a watch and you will hear the sirens throughout the county, which has all been lined up. And throughout the
10:15,
city
right?
at 10:15 and then at 10:30 that concludes. So just advisement that tomorrow's the actual state drill.
So we'll hear some sirens going
We
off.
will hear sirens.
Watch at 10, warning at 10:15.
Conclusion at 10:30.
4 dogs.
And an outdoor weather siren is just that,
Yeah.
Yes.
to warn you if you were outdoors. So,
Doesn't
Yeah.
mean go out on your deck and look up in the sky. Just
Unless you're a
reminder.
weather spotter.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Any other?
I don't think so. Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
the
you.
information. I think we have Luke on now, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back to item number 14 then. First reading of ordinance number 72. Luke, if you would want to, and this is just a reading only. There's no public hearings today.
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners.
Or
Sorry.
taking public comment, I should say.
Commissioners,
Unmute.
can you hear me there?
Yeah, I wonder if your settings on your audio settings, are you picking the right microphone, Luke, on your Zoom?
Let me check.
No. You move your lips really enunciating.
Let's see here.
You can read them.
Real tech. I have the right one selected on
There should be a
mine.
little arrow next to the microphone on the lower left on the Zoom screen, and there might be a different choice of microphone you can pick.
Can he hear you?
I think he's got Becky's microphone from last night.
Okay, he gave us the wait a minute. The wait a minute signal. I think you can.
Here.
They've done enough of these. I'm sure they'll get it worked
I'm
out.
gonna keep going through.
Check your settings. Mine are okay.
Uh-oh. So ours are not cooperating.
Let me just see. No, not that one.
I thought maybe he was going to hold up a sign with what he needed.
Need a hammer?
It's in the chat.
There's about two.
Yeah, our settings are. Yeah, our settings are standard.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, they look like what we normally have.
Is the volume up on the screen?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if we need to just have him call in and have him.
We can call him. It would be better. Can you write?
Yep.
We do not want to reveal his phone number, so.
No, we do
you can
not.
Find it for me.
I will.
Yeah, those are the correct settings
Okay,
for the.
okay.
Don't change that. That's. You know,
9160.
You want me to mess this up?
555.
Remember with 988, you're gonna have to dial all 7 digits now.
605. Everybody's gonna have to start putting 605 in front of all their numbers.
I thought that was what 211 was for.
No, well, it kind of was started out that way. I think they gravitated more, but this will be a national thing.
So the Fed said what we're doing in the state isn't good enough.
Good morning, Luke. Uh-oh.
Got squirrels in the background.
Can you hear us, Luke?
Can you hear us? Okay.
Luke, can you hear us?
Yeah, he's not
Yes.
inside.
Oh, okay. Say yes.
Why is there feedback?
I think do we call ourselves?
No, we
No,
called.
we called Luke, but I shut
No,
that
they're
mic
off.
on.
I had my microphone turned off on my computer, so.
There we
That
go.
was just me trying to prove to you my microphone works.
Yes, it was working. It just wasn't working with us. I don't know why.
All right,
Technology.
we're good.
Okay, so,
Okay, I am ready if you are.
yes, we are ready. You go ahead.
All right, so as you noted, we are holding first reading, and first of all, this is Luke Muller. I know you've seen and introduced me, but I'll say it again. This is Luke Muller, Codington County Zoning Officer. And we'll start, this is first reading of ordinance number 72. And ordinance number 72 is an ordinance entitled an ordinance amending Article 2, definitions, Article 3, district regulations, and Article 5, general regulations of ordinance 65, an ordinance amending ordinance 15, an ordinance establishing comprehensive zoning regulations for Codington County, South Dakota, and providing for the administration, enforcement, and amendment thereof pursuant to SDCL 11-2, 1967, and amendments thereof, and for the repeal and all resolutions and or ordinances in conflict herewith. Whew, I got through it. Okay, so
Lots of words.
since it's not public hearing day, I can obviously answer questions for the board, but realistically, I just want to provide you with a brief outline of what's in this, so that you can kind of get your head wrapped around what you're looking at and what you're not, if you haven't already. As subtext to this, there are really two things that we're addressing with this, one of which caught probably more attention than the other. So I'll talk about that part first. And so in the ordinance today, there is no real, it depends on who reads it to determine whether or not you can live in a shop or a grain bin or a hole in the wall. So basically, as long as you have certain things. So what ultimately we've run into, and the ordinance seems pretty clear, at least administratively, and how the Board of Adjustment has interpreted it, that a shed is a shed. Those pole buildings with vertical sidings, those are sheds, those aren't houses. And so that's what the board has historically interpreted it. That's what the zoning officer has interpreted it. This ordinance just puts that into place. You could have read it in a manner that the way that we were interpreting it, where you flip the siding horizontal and you allow more than 50% living space or 55% living space, and a separate roof line. There was a way to interpret that still wasn't allowed as a house. And so we wanted to clarify that yes, it is too allowed. So that's why as you read into this, there are sections in there that specify, we listed a shop style dwelling as a structure with a pole foundation, non-corrugated steel siding, to be used as a single family dwelling. And there are additional requirements in this new chapter that were established, 534. Someone can have this as a permitted use just like any other house in the ag district, and in some of the more residential districts, they would require some consent from adjacent landowners in order to have a house like that. And chances are you're not going to run into any issue if you make it look like the neighboring houses. Makes sense, right? So from a standpoint of what those additional requirements are for a shop style house, it is, they have to have a permanent foundation, and a permanent foundation does include poles that are dropped in below the frost line. So that's where that pole foundation comes in. They have to have a gross floor area of not less than 55% of the structure dedicated to dwelling purposes. That can include 2 stories. If they've got a 16 or an 18 or higher foot sidewall, they can have 2 stories and include that into it. That basically turns that into a house with an attached garage, maybe an oversized attached garage. Shop style dwellings do not include structures with vertical siding nor corrugated steel siding, and shop dwellings shall include more than 1 roof line. And then the part that we waited for about a month, and I'm saying this as if I'm grumbling about it, and I'm really not, honestly, we were able to provide some figures to help illustrate what the point was. And it just dawned on me that you can't see my screen, so I should show that if I can. Are you okay with me sharing my screen just to show you the figures?
Yeah, let me stop sharing the ordinance. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and do that quick.
Yeah, you should be able to share.
All right, so what you see here are some figures that were included. The Planning Commission asked me to include figures of examples. Not necessarily to say every house has to look like this, but just examples of what we're talking about, because it could easily have been confusing there. And so in number 5, figures 5, 3, 4, 5A and B, those are examples of what would be allowed. You can see 2 roof lines. You can see, maybe not on your screen, but you can see that there's horizontal siding. And in both of these cases, these are 2-story houses to help them get to and above that 55%. Down below, here are examples of ones that would not meet it. You can see on the, so for 5, 3, 4, 6A and B, the one on the left, you can see flat roof, no differentiation between the two. The one on the right side there, letter B, has only one roof line. And it's really not discernible as to where living and non-living is. So those are the examples of 5345 would be examples of, yeah, you can do that. 543 or 5346 would be, no, these don't work. And so just kind of thought that having some figures would help into there.
Luke, I do have this information to send out to the board with their packets this week, since we'll be taking action next week. I did not send it out, so, but I do have it so you'll be able to see those drawings yourselves.
Yeah, I only put this on here because I wanted to point out what we were waiting for.
Right, and I
That was the only
apologize.
reason
I
here.
probably should have sent the whole thing out and I didn't, so.
No, that's, from my standpoint, that's okay. So that is the part that caught the most attention. I know that we had a public hearing and we had one realtor on who was pretty concerned that, holy cow, you're going to make every house now be like this. No, that's not what this is. This is not every house has to be this way. This is this is clarifying that if someone's going to use a pole foundation, steel-sided building as a house, this is the parameters so that we've established that it is clearly okay as long as you do it this way. So we're not out there in the ether making sure that, you know, trying to guess as to what the ordinance says. We're specifically saying it now. So that's what that is. The second half of this ordinance is in relation to existing farmstead exemptions. And that goes a bit to a residential discussion we had, but primarily this is just moving existing farmstead exemptions, which is that rule that I refer to most of the time when I'm bringing a 5-acre plat to you, that allows a less than 35-acre lot at the side of a farmstead. This just moves it to what it should have been. It's always been listed as a variance, which is, I'm sorry, geeky planner talk, that's not appropriate. It should be a conditional use. That way we don't have to identify a hardship. So we've moved it to a conditional use, and now that is actually a conditional use to which we can attach the correct lot width and lot area to. So they're not variancing those three things too. And I'll tell you, I explained this to the Board of Adjustment. I haven't recommended changing variance fees in this county because the farmstead exemption is tied to a variance. And if we had increased the variance fee to match what we have in other counties, like $300 to $500, like they have in those counties, we would have been asking starting families to have a $1,500 get out of jail free card to start the process before they even applied for a building permit. So this will move this so that it's something that is more administratively palatable. Then we can get in line from a variance standpoint from a fee structure. So that's it. That's more than I planned for a first reading, but I think it's important to understand where this stuff comes from this time. Okay?
Sounds
Right.
good. Thank you for that explanation. And so next week, April 27th, we will have the second reading and public hearing on this.
And
ordinance.
action to
And
adopt.
action to adopt.
And then, so in the, this notice, it says, it has a website, a URL there for folks if they want to look at the ordinance, correct? Is that what that's at, Luke?
That's correct. They can view it at the zoning tab of the Codington County, the Codington County website. They need to go to the zoning tab, and on that page for the zoning office, we have a link. In fact, what you were looking at on my screen when I shared it, that was off of the link, and it's, I believe, the second link on ours. As you scroll down just a little ways, right where the building permits are, it says proposed ordinance 72.
Right. And also, if they are not able to attend, they are to get written comments filed with you before noon on Friday, April 23rd.
That's correct. And sometimes people ask, why do I have to have a deadline date on that? And that's so that you as a board can see it. Otherwise, it's just showing up the day of. So I want to give you some time as the county commission for a chance to review those comments. So public, yeah, if you've got some written comments, go ahead and get them. The zoning office, I'm sure that the auditor's office could take them too, but I'd recommend sending them to us. I can forward them on. All right?
Very good.
Thank you.
All right.
Not that, Lee, I see you've got that on there. Go back one. It is actually below and on proposed ordinance 72.
Oh, right here?
You can see it right
Okay,
there.
there it is.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
All right. Okay. There
Okay.
it is. Okay. All right,
Well,
thank you.
There you
Thanks.
go.
Thank you, Luke, and we'll be having you on again next Tuesday as well.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Luke.
All right. We will move on then to item number 18, action, possible discussion on COVID-19 practices, procedures, policy. The only thing I would say with that is, I don't know what we have still in our policies, if that's something we should review, if some of those can be expired now.
Actually, at the end of March, the COVID leave expired. So anybody who needs to be out of work due to COVID will have to now use their own sick leave. And we have had one employee who came down with COVID after the 1st of April. And that employee did have to use their own sick leave. And the other thing I just wanted to mention is that my office has provided a licensed nurse at all of the vaccination events. She's a qualified nurse, so we have volunteered her services to at the events that are being held.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes. And thank her for donating her time for that as well. And
Well,
for
she's
you,
not donating.
yeah, I guess stepping
She's still
up.
getting-
Yeah,
she's still
she's still getting
Something she
paid,
didn't have to
but
do.
that
but
she
she's
is
doing it.
at
We
least-
appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a minimal thing from my office and to have the employee available
Thursday.
The 22nd. Mhm.
will be the,
And that's a walk-in. So you can walk in.
Yep.
No appointment needed.
so
And
the
that's-
second dosage is they have appointments. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
from 6:30 to, well, Jamie, you want to come up maybe and we'll just say it publicly so everybody can hear. Yes, but thank you, Cindy, for allowing her to do that. That's one thing that some, our businesses have been good about, allowing people to either help or come and get the vaccinations as well. So, all right, Jamie.
Yep, Thursday will be another mass vaccination event provided by Prairie Lakes in association with our local task force that's kind of been promoting that. Thursday morning, 6:30 until 4 will be that series of several hundred second doses that were performed a month back. And then from 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock should be their first dose walk-in style, non-appointment style. So, and typically a 25-minute to 30-minute complete process, even if you're a walk-in, from the start to finish. The hang-up time is that 15-minute wait period after you receive the vaccine. So
And it's going to be the Moderna vaccine, right?
everything correct currently is Moderna. Yep.
All right,
All right.
very good. Thank you for that
Thanks,
information.
Jamie.
Item number 19, action to approve claims for payment.
I have no claims and no automatic budget supplements
All
today.
right, then let's move on to item number 21, action to approve personnel changes.
We have several of those. Steve Stalky is a building maintenance worker at the detention center, do an anniversary step increase to step 7, $18.97 per hour. Brent Solom is a sergeant deputy in the sheriff's office, do an anniversary step increase to step 10, $29.47 per hour. Steve DeVille is one of the people that has been rehired at Memorial Park. He'll be at step 8, $19.25 per hour. John Engels is a seasonal assistant weed supervisor. He is due a step increase with his rehire to step 9, $19.74 per hour.
Move to approve.
Second.
By Johnson, second by Gable. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Item number 22, action to approve travel requests. I have
These are
several.
both for the state's attorney's office. It's for the state's attorney and 2 deputies to attend. Let's see. These are the same thing. It's a DUI training and state's attorney conference.
Move to approve.
Motion by Gable,
Second.
second by Van Duzen. You have any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries also. Public notices, we have a couple of those listed. Lincoln Day Dinner, April 29th, 5:30 at 2nd Street, and Sioux Valley Commissioners District meeting here in Watertown, 12 o'clock, May 12th. Does anyone else have anything I have a couple things I'll mention at the open that maybe can be added to that list that there could be a possible quorum of commissioners at, although one of them is this Saturday. So with that, any old business?
Nothing.
Okay, how about new business? All right, for the open, does anyone else have anything they would like to mention?
I'd like to pass these around. These are, this is the revenue budget worksheet that we'll use for budget year 2022. I'd like you all to take time to, it shows you our actual revenues from 2018, 19, and 20. And then what we're estimating for 2021, just so you have an idea of where our revenues have been going. Like last year, we were down in a number of places due to COVID, but in other places it made up, in addition to the CARES Act funding that we received in 2020, which was $1.6 million. And then we received another $166,000 in 2021 to make up the amount that we were allowed. So that's one place where we caught up. There were a few other places that we did caught up, some that we were below. But with the discussion on the flooding and the amounts of money that the highway department may need coming down the road, there will need to be funds, if these things materialize, there will need to be funds transferred from the general fund into the highway budget.
And that takes
the
a
highway
special hearing or whatever, is that how? the
Well, no,
process?
it's something we can budget for. It's called an operating cash transfer. We have one every year from the general fund to the highway fund because the highway does not generate enough revenue to support its own budget. So we do have to transfer every year. You can see that for the 2021 budget, the highway department received just over $1 million from the general fund to operate during 2021. And then you'll have to decide what kind of surplus that you want to leave in the highway cash fund, just depending on these issues that are coming up. And the highway fund is not regulated like the general fund where we can only keep 40% maximum surplus cash. But I do treat the highway fund surplus cash, try to treat it in a similar way to the general fund, but there is no cap on that. So those are some things you'll have to decide when we get into the budget process. And when after the wage study is done, those type of things will need to be taken into consideration.
All right, thank you for that. Does anyone else have anything for the open? I do have a couple items. This Saturday at 9 a.m., there's a group that are doing the annual Sioux River cleanup. So in kind of a question to, or an answer to Charlie's question last week, they do an annual cleanup there. They'll meet at the Lions Club next to the kiddie pond. And so they do that annually. And as far as like twigs and those sorts of things, branches that are in the river, if they're holding back water, they are removed. If they're not holding back water, they're left there for habitat for other sorts of water living creatures.
As an add-on comment to that, and thinking that as it goes through Watertown as a Watertown Creek or a Watertown River, and it has silted in a lot of over the years. I've talked to a couple of civil engineers. However, it is a state river.
Yeah.
It's not a Watertown river. So any manipulation or digging or removing has to go through the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that would also have to go through the feds probably. So it's a very complicated issue, but it has silted in several feet, which gives it less depth, which means the water spreads out farther.
Right. Yep. I know, like you say, it's not a call by our city. It's something they would have to go
Right.
through
And I
procedurally.
just thought of it as a Watertown.
Yeah.
The state did allocate some money for clean up on the Big Sioux River too,
Yeah.
above Sioux Falls in this legislative session. So,
Right. Maybe there'll be something to come eventually that in our
we'll see.
part of the world. Also, an individual emailed me about the Lake Compesca Water Project District Board meeting, and which is on Tuesday night, April 27th at North Shore, I believe 7 p.m. That's kind of informational. They're talking about how Roger Foote, they've done this pilot project with LG. So they will be giving information about that and what they're hoping to do going forward. So if any of you are so inclined to attend that meeting, that would also be.
That information is going to be on the website, right? That'll be on the county website. Because they've
These,
mentioned North Shore, but the North Shore is now, what,
Chop house.
no,
No, it's North
that's
Shore.
what it's
It's
called.
North Shore.
it is the North Shore now?
Yes,
Yeah. It used to be Lake Shore, now it's
Yeah.
North Shore.
Okay.
so that's
Yeah.
where they're having their
Brandon
board
Grunwald.
meeting.
Just wanted to get the name right. I drive by it every day.
Yeah, it's North Shore. but-
Still Club 20.
No, I don't think these will be on the website. It's just for your information only that there could be a quorum of commissioners possibly.
Put it on the agenda.
Yeah, and like this
It'll
Saturday,
be posted on
we won't have to
Thursday.
put that one on for the cleanup, the annual
Well,
cleanup
I
on the
mean,
river.
the agenda gets posted on Thursday, so if it's there,
I guess, because yeah, it's not till Saturday. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
At least they'll know there could be a quorum of
Yes,
commissioners
okay.
possibly. All right. Other than that, I don't have anything else for the open unless someone else has anything.
Last night at the city council meeting, the Watertown Fire Rescue released their 2020 stats. Their calls for service, EMS calls were up 20% out in the county over the previous year. So they had a record high number of EMS and fire calls. So just so you're aware of that. Getting
Right.
a lot of calls out in the county, and we appreciate their support, partnership.
And they do contract now with the townships.
They
If they
do,
have those
yeah.
contracts in place, so
Yep.
that is,
We did get that email, survey from First District,
mhm.
and apparently Cindy didn't want to fill it out.
I'm not qualified
It's
to
not-
fill it out.
She didn't fill it out.
She has enough other things to do, so,
It's just not,
Us as individuals will fill it out.
right, it's more a county commissioner thing.
Yeah.
It's on
And-
economic development, and
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
I've done them before. I remember doing that.
Yeah, and speaking of economic development, Mark Vox is the new executive director of the Watertown Development Company. Excuse me, he was introduced at the council meeting last night, and just, I guess, we'll hopefully have a chance to meet Mark. He'll come to one of these meetings as soon as he gets established, looking for a house, and he'll begin at the development company soon. So we welcome him to the community and to the area.
Very good.
Where does he come from again?
He's coming from Mitchell, but he has 17 years in economic development
I see.
history with the South Dakota Governor's Office of Economic Development. That's where Chris Shilkin left to go to. It's North Dakota?
I think he comes.
I think it was North
it's
Dakota, I
North
believe.
Dakota, yeah.
He's got
had a
input from
press
several.
release.
Anyway, so, yeah, so he's been around economic development for a while. So welcome to Watertown.
Yes. Do we have a need to go into executive session?
Just we'll be meeting in two separate groups to talk about, get an update on the wage study. So that's.
But there won't be a quorum at
No
any of
action,
those
yeah, no
meetings,
quorum, no
so
action.
it's just information only. All right. Anyone else have anything?
What would adjourn?
Motion by Johnson, second by Van Duzen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Can you stop the meeting, Natalie? Thank you.